If women change, you don't like that. If women don't change, you don't like that. So let's talk about this. So let me tell you what he said when he came back. I don't even want to talk about this no more.
Of course you don't.
Then he tells me, don't even reply back to me. So then I said to him, so you're running away? Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. I'm tired. It wasn't a rough night at work last night. It was just working with the public, y'all. This guy, this most on care this morning, this man literally yelled at me because I wasn't wearing a mask. I was like, what the? I was like, what? He got mad. He was like, do you have a mask? And I said, no, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't have a mask. And then he said, it wasn't going to be for me. It was going to be for you. And I was like, oh Lord, here we go, y'all. Working with the public is rough sometimes. He got mad at me. I was like, are people even still doing the mask? I feel like the mask was over. So anyways, we had several men in our comments sporadically lately. They're like, one guy said, don't be afraid to, call out men too. I'm glad you guys are calling out women and stuff. Don't be afraid to call out men too. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, we're very well aware, because I know a lot of women get weird with us. They're like, you guys act like men don't do anything wrong. And I'm like, we are very well aware there are men out here who are struggling with things. We know there are men who are falling short in a lot of areas. We get that. I also believe that it really does need to be men to call men out.
You mean, because the people who watch us are men.
Yeah.
So the topics end up being about what we feel about something a woman's done.
Yeah.
So if I had to talk about women.
Yeah.
If women were doing it, we could talk about, if they were having some problems with men, then we could talk about that. But a lot more men watch us.
Right.
So most of our emails and stuff are from men.
Yeah, that's true.
And the truth is that feminism is what's wrong.
Yeah.
And that's women. However, I always say that feminism can't succeed without men. There's a lot of beta males out here who are feeding feminism. I say it all the time. I mean, that's all I can say. If you're going, what else can I say? Right. Well, all I can say is, if you're a man and you go along with this, which a lot of men do, a lot of them go along with being equals in households, and I say that all the time. So that's why I say, even when a lot of men get like annoyed, I was like, yeah, you have you have nobody else to talk about. You have to call it yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
Like I call out Joe Biden. Half the people on MSNBC that are men, MSNBC and CNN, talk on sports shows like Fox, or not Fox, but ESPN. They're just babies.
Yeah.
LeBron James is a big baby. You know what I mean? But that has to be called out. I mean, that is your biggest problem. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Feminism is only a joke to me, because I realize that the only reason you can be independent is because of the efforts of men. And by the way, it can only get this far with men. If all men would just stop following women and their feelings about being equal in the pay gap and all that, then it probably wouldn't go that far, because women, no matter if they want to admit it or not, they need men to move forward.
Right.
But the truth is that there are a great big majority, primarily, and I'm going to say almost all, liberal men are into feminism, abortion, LGBTQ, BLM, all of those things that to me are all beta male groups, Marxist beta male groups that contribute to the downfall of our society.
Right.
So it is a male and a female problem. But when we get comments from men, we have to speak from it from a female perspective, which would be women.
Yeah, dedicating a video to teaching men how to be men is not going to happen. That's just not my job to do that, right? I don't think that is something a woman really should be doing or should have to do for a man. I think that other men out there should be doing that for other men, kind of like what we're doing with women. So I don't have a problem with stating the truth. So if a man says something and I think it doesn't make any sense at all, and I feel that he's not taking accountability for whatever we're talking about, I will say, and I answer a lot of comments, so I will say to him, this is incorrect. You are aiding in the problem. There are men right now who are upset at women, really don't. There's some men who plain out just don't like women. Not even that they're gay, they just don't like women, and they're very angry at them.
By the way, when I call out women, it's because feminism disgusts me on the highest level. And I hate that. I will never be done talking about it until it's burned to the ground. I can't stand it. I can't stand what it's done to women. I can't stand what it's done to kids. I can't stand what it's done to society. I can't stand what it's done to men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I cannot stand it. We do not have a problem with equality in America with women. And every time I go on television or watch television or I watch something, I hear some woman talk about the wage gap, or the fact that believe all women and publicly embarrass men on sex rape charges when they haven't even been to a trial yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just this, making young men feel like they're just nothing. Men are women, women are men. I will never ever stop talking about that. Yeah. And that makes me mad. You know what I mean? It makes me mad when I see men check their balls at the door and allow this to be a thing. And I say that all the time. So it's not really about saying fear. This is a lot of it's our comments. A lot of it's just me. I can't stand it.
I think there's one video we did where we were talking about the feminist movement. I had watched a documentary with a man who was talking about this, that he was from that time. He said there was a lot of men that followed this and aided and helped the feminist movement, literally out there with picket signs too, right? And that really, that really was not a smart move, because it was just kind of doubling down and giving women more and more and more of a lead role in society when it should have been the other way around. So I think that that damaged a lot of women in a lot of ways. Now, we talked about that in an entire video. And men were really upset, but they were really upset because they were like, "No, it's not our fault. You're blaming us." They do that now. So now it's our fault. We got several men, even recently, they were like, it's not our fault. It's not our job to fix you, women. So don't come and say that men are going to be the ones to do this change. And I personally believe that. And I always will believe this, that the trajectory of the world, the country, but the world, is not going to change or shift until men step up and do that. It's going to be men, and I believe this to be true, to literally change the way everything is right now. And I say that because men are leaders. They are natural leaders. We aren't. So because of that ability to be natural leaders, if you tap into it, that is going to settle women and humble women. And so when I say that, we've had so many comments where men are getting really upset when we say, I'm not saying that that it's your job to fix a woman. That is ridiculous. When men say that, and I'm like, what are you even, you only heard what you wanted to hear. It is everyone's personal responsibility to take accountability for their behavior in their life. So no man is in charge of fixing that for a woman. What I'm saying is, indirectly, if men stand up and stay, like Shamika said, flat-footed, and do not put up with this mess, do whatever you gotta do. Whatever you gotta do. Stop liking and hearting and commenting and aiding in the problem.
Yeah, aiding and abetting. You can't say you don't like something, and then as soon as it's like, I believe there are a lot of men that honestly just like to argue.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I don't think that there are men who ever want this to end. I think that if the women actually started acting right again, a lot of men would still be mad at that. Yeah. Because now they have to be men. Right. You know what I mean? And so that's I think there are a lot of men who just argue for the sake of arguing. And if that's how you feel, then you can go ahead and feel those feelings. But I can tell you that if you don't know how to fight like a man and walk away from women that are, toxic and bait you into arguments, and you fall for it every single time, or you go on these pages, these Instagram pages, and like these women's half-naked photos and heart them and say all those things, you are the problem too. Because it will never, ever go away unless you know how to have some sort of discipline. And that was my point. Yourself. But see, that's my point. Instead, that's how it will be fixed, though. That's my point. It's not that you can sit down and say, hey, you got to do better now, ladies. Not that. Or saying that just your energy as a masculine man alone is going to, like Kara said, humble women. You don't have to do anything directly. It's just. In fact, I'm telling you to do nothing. Yeah, do nothing. Just I'm telling you to walk away. Walk away and be a man, masculine, and don't put up with the mess of what these women are doing right now, because it's really very sad what we're seeing in women right now. I feel like if women like us do our part and call out the behavior, which angers women, which is what you kind of want. Because you want them to get angry to the point
where they can start to open their eyes. If they do, some won't. So a lot will. And we have proof of that because we get emails from young women that see things differently when they look at a couple of our videos of women like us that talk like that, that talk like a logical common sense. And maybe being a loudmouth is not really good for you or society. So I think that when it's about taking personal accountability and ownership of your own behavior, but it's also like everyone has a social responsibility as well. So if Kara and I were up here talking about the things that we talk about feminism, acting like a lady, all these things, and if we were talking about all these things and we weren't being that, then that would be ridiculous, right? You guys are being like, you guys are hypocrites. So it's the same thing like with men. Like you just have to be the change you want.
I mean, Matt Walsh did a really good monologue the other day about, and he did a thing on Andrew Tate and why so many men are following Andrew Tate and people like that. And he made a good point. He was like, look, if you guys are waving a white flag of surrender, just say you're doing that. But to sit here and try to pretend like, you just want to like go your own way. When you're still sleeping with women and still possibly making baby mamas out of them and making more single mothers and causing more abortions, then he's just like, but just be honest. Just be honest that you feel defeated. You know what I mean? But don't try to pretend like you're really angry about something you may not even really be angry with. You just like the anger.
Right.
You just like the fight. It's fun. Some women do too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of women do. I don't even think a lot of women are feminists. I actually think a lot of women just like being a part of the combative fight. Yeah. And they like getting you all riled up and angry and frustrated. You know what I mean? And that's just the point. That's the agenda. The agenda is to make us all mad at each other, lost, confused.
It works. It's working. It's working.
It just go in our comments. It works.
We are what we are, right, Kara and I? We're pretty level-headed, normal women. It's nothing, we're not major scholars and all stuff. We're just normal, common women. Just making, I think, sense. And it's just resonating to people that are normal. You know what I mean? So I don't know when we get comments where men are like, oh, whatever, I don't care. They're trying to be combative. I don't care what you say. Men don't listen to these women. Right? I'm like, see, that's feminine energy when men do that. Like, I don't know if a lot of men understand that is feminine energy when you want to argue with a woman.
And for the men who are in the comments that want things to change, look in the comments and then school those men because they are part of the problem. Yeah. They're part of the problem. They like this whole sort of I hate women thing. This is so much fun to them. You know what I mean? They like getting other men mad when they're not.
Like I know when I'm being baited into an argument in some comments because I like to read you guys' comments because a lot of y'all just say some really smart stuff. You know what I mean? And you get it. And that's nice to see. That's nice to see. But there are times where there are men who are clearly being combative.
Some things are just boring. Like I'm not going to have a boring argument with you. It's corny. First of all, I'm not going to fight with a man. No. That's just already, it's just weird. That already makes me feel weird.
It's already backwards.
And secondly, grow up. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you aren't happy in your life, you have to change your life. And this has nothing to do with feminism. This has something to do with people individually. Yeah. If you're individually walking around, with a messed up life and you have keyboard courage and that's your life. You like to go on pages and write down a whole bunch of stuff about stuff. You know what I mean? It's really you. I mean, I think Joe Rogan said that. He was just like, he said, you people that love to just spend your days just saying absurd stuff. I know. For the he's like, it is pretty pathetic. He's like, and he said that's the reason why we don't say much is because I almost feel sorry for people like that because they are so lost and so bitter and so angry. But men like that are also the reason why women are the way they are too. Because all it takes is for women who are coming around to watch one of our videos and then see these like negative, angry men. They're like, "Oh, see, I told you." And then it just tells women, "See, this is why you don't have to. This is why you have to leave men and you have to have your own because this is how they are. They don't respect women." And you know what I mean? But this is the agenda. So I mean, the agenda is very clear. You know what I mean?
Like most of the people that comment are saying opinion on where it's factual and not aggressive and it's not like mean-spirited. It's just, but it's harsh because it's true, about women. You know what I mean? So I don't care about that. That's not even a problem. But there are a lot of men, y'all, that are very argumentative.
That's what I'm saying. I do think there are men who don't want it to change.
Yeah.
I actually think there are men who want to make other men mad enough to leave women.
I think so too.
You know what I mean? I think that is a thing. And the reason why, like I said, the reason why I don't really talk about men as much is because I don't think any man can really learn much from me except for my poise and my demeanor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Other than that, most men check other men. That's just the way that it is. And men take it better from other men, even if they get combative with that man. Another man can shut them down more than a woman, because they just write it off as oh, you know, they'll write it, she's an angry woman. Yeah, you can't say it. You can't say it to another man, which is why when I read your comment and you start to bore me with your emotion, I stop reading because I'm over you already, and so I have to move on.
I will never teach a man to do anything, because that is literally not my place. I don't even want to do that. It's ridiculous to do that. And also, there are some really, really good men out here right now that are doing some phenomenal work on men. Because a lot of men that are brave enough to say, I'm having an issue being a man. Because there are younger men that are having that problem being masculine, you know what I mean? Or just because they were raised with their mothers. And we have a lot of that right now. So those men are seeking people like Elliot Hulse and Jordan Peterson and, you know, Greg Adams, Coach Greg Adams. I mean, like, there's a bunch of different
even Jason Whitlock said that.
Jason Whitlock
said that some of these NBA players, some of these, they all sound like girls because they're raised with single mothers. And that's what's the problem with our black community, is that we have too many men raised with only women. They sound like a bunch of women arguing all the time. He's going to have no time for it. You know what I mean? And
but a woman's not. But a woman's not going to be able to help that. A man's not going to be able to help that.
Right. Even Matt Walsh and Ben. I mean, even those guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That those men to me are level-headed. These are married men. See, and that's the thing, is that I think a lot of people, which is why I hate talking about relationships. One of the reasons why I hate talking about relationships is because I'm not in one.
Yeah.
But every single time I say that, people go, "Oh, it's okay." You know, you still give out good advice even though you're not. But I'm not in one. But I do appreciate people who are married.
Yeah.
That have, because to me, they make the better. That's just my opinion, that when you're in a marriage, you make more sense. This is why when you listen to Matt Walsh, those men can't get mad because Matt Walsh is living a good life.
Yeah.
With an honest marriage, with kids, and he's working hard, and he's the head of his family.
Right.
And those are the kind of men that need to talk to these snarky, single-mothered, mama boy type people, not me. The only thing I care about is women. And I do care about women. I care about them a lot because I see them, you know, treated horribly, and they don't even know it. They don't realize they're wasting time, and they're being taught a big, huge lie. You know what I mean? And in the process of demoralizing women and putting them on their ego, it's starting to make men big babies. Yeah. And angry and frustrated and childish. And to me, not even a Kevin Samuels can help you. It has to be someone that is actually married, like Elliot Hulse, a Matt Walsh. People who are actually living the life. Not an Andrew Tate, although he makes sense. He identifies the problem well. But someone who is actually in a successful life, someone who knows God, someone who's married, someone who's working, someone's the head of their home, someone who has children. You know what I mean? Those are the men that can help those men. Not me and Danielle. We can't do that. Yeah. Because one, even if I was married, I couldn't do it because I'm a woman.
That's my point. I think that when men say that, you know, it's okay to talk about the problems of men. When men say that to us, you know, it's okay to talk about the problems with men too. I know you guys talk a lot about the women, which is great. You know, I'm like, okay, yeah, it is okay actually to talk about the problems with men. The problem is that for me is that I want to see actual change, and I'm not just saying all this stuff to be saying it. Literally, when I'm out there in the world or, you know, at work or whatever, and a young lady is not acting like a young lady, I will do the work and say, you know, hey, you know, you can stop acting like that, like calm down, you know what I mean? Especially when I know her. Like I it's not just a YouTube thing. I literally in my life I do this with young women, you know what I mean? And so it's like, if it's not going to resonate with men because I'm a woman saying it, then I'd much rather just not say it and let men take care of men who are struggling with that. You know what I mean? Because it's going to go on deaf ears. They're going to get defensive, and they're not going to understand that it's constructive criticism and not an attack on them. You know what I mean? And so, I just want real change is what it is. And I think that men that are already successful, already doing well, and already happy in their lives can help those types of men. It's not going to come from a woman, y'all. So
even a married woman. It's not. You know what I mean? Which is why I don't. My job as a woman is to help women. Yeah. And the reason why we don't have a lot of women is because they are brainwashed. And they do believe everything that Cardi B says and Beyonce says and Oprah Winfrey says. They believe all that. They believe they're victims. The same thing when we talk about black issues. Everyone believes that we're all oppressed and that the police are shooting us down like target practice, and we can't get ahead in this world, and we can't do the you know what I mean. We've all drank the Kool-Aid. A lot of us have. You know what I mean? The trans situation where men can be women, women can be men. And we're all being told to say something that's absolutely untrue.
Right.
Just to be saying it. And we're being told to drink the Kool-Aid. Well, I'm not.
Yeah.
And if you don't like that, you can always unsubscribe, or you can just not, you can say what you want to say in the comments. It doesn't make a difference. But I'm not going to be baited into absurd arguments. I'm not going to pretend like this is all women's fault. And honestly, I don't think it is all women's fault. I think there are a lot of men behind feminism. A lot. Because this country was run by men. In order for feminism to work, men had to give up something, which makes me believe that feminism can obviously be started by men. You know what I mean? We were watching we had watched, which hasn't come in yet, but I was watching a clip from the Uncle Tom 2 DVD, and the 3 BLM women. There was a white man behind them. There was a white woman behind the NAACP. All of these black organizations, there are white people behind it. So why wouldn't I think that feminism could have some men behind it? Rockefeller, I told you before, Rockefeller, he put out money for programs to get women out of the house. That's a man. And this was way back in the 20s. He's been trying to get women out of the house and get them working and get you away from your kids and get government people educating your kids in public school. So come on, this is something that is not just a woman thing.
I'm gonna read a comment from this guy from a little while back. So it's absurd, to me, but I'm gonna read the comment because I want you to see what the issue can be. Because when women like us, as you guys say, are saying normal things and are speaking in a common sense, we get men that say stuff like this. I find it interesting, disingenuous, and opportunistic that women are now advocating for men's rights, holding women accountable for decisions and their actions. Because it's a hot topic now with massive momentum, women want to jump on the bandwagon. Where were all these women years ago? So he says this to us, basically saying we're jumping on the bandwagon of, whatever. So he's trying to bait an argument, right? So I said back to him, I said, okay, so, well, let's have a healthy, I said to him, let's have a healthy debate about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. If women change, you don't like that. If women don't change, you don't like that. So let's talk about this. So let me tell you what he said when he came back. I don't even want to talk about this no more.
Of course you don't.
But he just bows out of it. So he's like whatever. I don't even talk about this. Then he tells me, don't even reply back to me. So then I said to him, so you're running away? Why are you running away? I'm saying I want to talk about this in a diplomatic, normal way, and you're running away. It's like, you guys, if you're going to say something, you got to stay. Don't delete the comment. Don't delete the comment. Y'all be deleting those. I'm like, y'all say some really crude stuff, and then you delete it. And I'm like, no, let's talk about it. Who are, like this guy's saying is halfway true. Like what he's saying is that why, with all the insults, why are all of a sudden women coming out of the woodwork saying that they agree with some things you're saying? Some women are even saying that I'm gonna read a comment from a girl that I really want to highlight because I really like what she said. But there's a lot of women that are even saying like to us, like I used to be this type of woman. I do not want to be the type of woman anymore. You know what I mean? And that's a beautiful thing. It's supposed to be. It's nice to see a woman change, but no, you would think so, right? But no, a lot of men are getting upset that women are actually changing their mind. They're calling them fake, phony, disingenuous. What are the other words they use? This is one of many. And I'm like, so you don't like when women are bad, but you don't like when they're trying to be good.
Or trying to understand you.
Yeah, trying to understand you.
So even if a woman gives you that shot, you don't understand, which is why I think that this has a lot to do with men who like to just argue.
Yeah, it's
and
more
they don't
more
like
that.
the idea of women because it means they have to be a man.
Yeah.
And being a man is a very hard thing.
Right.
Which is why a lot of men don't want to be.
Right.
Because it calls you to be something greater.
Yeah.
Than just a keyboard warrior. If we don't start talking. Yeah. And say something, which is why I think, because I didn't know it was this bad.
But I don't either.
I'm an introvert, so I'm not really out there anyway that much.
And we're not on social media.
I'm not on social media a lot, so I didn't know women were this disgusting. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, there are some things that just came to me. I'm like, what is this? You know what I mean? And so, but I have to call it out. There are a lot of times, there are topics I don't want to do. Simply because I don't want to do them. I'm just sick of it's like beating a dead horse. But then something happens where I feel like I have a responsibility to say it, even if it hurts feelings. You know what I mean?
Or even if it sparks like anger. And someone's always think that things start with anger, but underneath anger is sadness and truth. So you got to get down to that truth. And I think that if we sit up here and don't address it, like it is annoying doing the videos. It is annoying doing these kinds of topics about the dynamics between men and women, or just the behaviors of both, feminism. But like Kara said earlier, like it is, until this stuff gets burned down to the ground,
that's when I'll stop.
Because it will be irresponsible for us to know something and then yet pretend we don't now. We can't do that. Now we can't go back. We can't go back into that mind where we really didn't know. You know what I mean? Now we know, and so now it needs to be exposed.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that there's just a lot of people now that are, especially a lot of Christian people, who are just realizing that, oh no, we can't let this happen. We have to win the culture. And that's what I want. I want to win the culture. I do not want to see America turn into a crap hole of communism, because that is what it's turning into.